Welcome to episode 6 of
blooper reel.
Welcome to season 1, episode 5 of the Pitch podcast, brought to you by Alexandria Soccer. I'm your host, Katie Brooks. Today we are chatting about Tots Soccer, one of ASA's earliest programs designed to introduce our youngest participants to the sport of soccer. Tots is a developmentally appropriate program for kids ages 2 to 4 years old. It introduces basic soccer skills alongside listening skills, motor skills, and socialization for tiny humans. Today on the podcast, I have Jim Hogan, Deputy Director of Tournaments and Programs, and Liz Blount, Tots Director. Liz, who many of you know as a Tots coach and a local high school coach, is one of our most tenured program directors. She's been overseeing ASA Tots since 2019 and coaching in the program since 2013. Thanks for being on, Liz and Jim.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. To kick off, will you just introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about what you do at ASA related to the Tots soccer programming?
You kicked it off. My title is Deputy Director. I've been with the club 10 plus years, and Tots is one of the many programs that I work with and oversee, along with our rec and camps and adult leagues. So I've got a unique perspective on all the things we do at the club. But yeah, Tots is an exciting one. Our youngest group.
I like that you oversee both Tots programming and adult. You got the full spectrum.
It's all there. Yeah, a lot of fun.
Great, thanks.
Hi, I'm Liz Blount. I've been coaching Tots since 2013. It seems like a lifetime ago. And then, running the program. I was a middle school PE teacher for 11 years. I've been a nanny. I've been a preschool teacher. I've pretty much and a high school coach, field hockey and soccer for Alexandria City. So I pretty much have coached and taught a lot in Alexandria.
Yeah, you have the full spectrum. Have you had any Tots that you coached that you then coached in high school? Or not quite that longevity? I'm trying to think of if that would match up.
Yeah, it does. Like Braylon's little sister.
Hadley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she
taught to high school. Yeah.
And then,
yeah.
No, she's high
wow.
school age. Yeah.
That's quite the transition.
It is. Well done, Katie.
Okay. Well, in season 1 here, as we're covering the different programs that ASA offers, we often kind of start with the history and how a program got started. This was one of, if not the earliest program outside of rec and academy that ASA kind of introduced in the quote unquote early days. So maybe Liz, will you tell us, I know you weren't necessarily there, but I know you have some history. Tell us what the early days of Tots look like at ASA.
So I know Chris Arnold, who you've seen, he's the other deputy director. He actually started the Tots program, I think, in 2011. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was the first supplemental program outside of rec, outside of academy, just trying to get kids in Alexandria moving and create a program where, parents could come and they could have 30 minutes of playtime and learn soccer. And it was just something new that there wasn't really a lot of, but now there's a lot of Tots soccer, but in Alexandria, we try to be the gold standard. But yeah, Chris would post flyers at daycares, at libraries, on telephone poles.
Really grassroots.
True story.
And then he had a lot of classes at Beverly Hills Pit Park, at Windmill Hill, which we still have classes in Old Town. And then, of course, Simpson, fabled Simpson ground.
Yep.
And then the west side, we have Booth, Brenman, and Somerville Fields. So it's kind of snowballed from there. We've got some new locations like Douglas MacArthur, and we're trying out Chinkapin Field. So we've grown a lot.
Yeah. So can we talk a little bit about what a Tots soccer class looks like? Because for somebody who does not have a toddler or maybe hasn't seen what a class, what the kids this age do. Tell us a little, maybe you both can jump in and tell us a little bit about what a Tots soccer class entails.
Well, Jim can talk about it from a parent perspective, because he's had to kind of go through the program. And then I can talk about it as a coach, obviously. Week 1, 2-year-old class is very different than week 4, 2-year-old class. And then obviously, if you start as a 2-year-old and then end as a 4-year-old, it's going to be just, you've run the full, curriculum. You've had lots of different coaches. You've had different games and activities, and you've done it all pretty much from 2 to 4. But starting at 2, it's basic motor skills. Like, we do 10 minutes without the soccer ball sometimes of just gross motor skills, jumping, hopping, skipping, running, learning our bodies. Our body parts, put our nose on the soccer ball, They might not dribble the soccer ball that whole first day because they don't know how yet.
Yeah.
And then we're, our social, emotional piece of, we're building self-esteem because we're going to get that ball in that goal. And when we score a goal, we're going to get hyped. And then, you have the cognitive part, like the listening, I have somebody telling me to sit on my soccer ball, I'm going to do that. And then, they go home and their parents tell them to sit in their chair, and, I'm going to sit on my soccer ball. And it all kind of comes full circle like that.
So you mean it's more than just about kicking a ball? Interesting.
Well, you can see the value of Liz's perspective of being a teacher, right?
Yes.
And bringing a curriculum into a program that's age appropriate and can allow for kids of all different interests and abilities and energy levels to participate in Tots. And that's the experience I had. My daughter, she was probably ready to get out of the house right away, and we had to find fun ways to get her energy out throughout the day. And it wasn't about soccer for her. It was socializing. It was the jumping up and down, and duck shoot got her going. I tell you what, that was a great ending to every session. She couldn't wait for her turn and to also cheer on all the other little buddies next to her. And she kept up for 2, 3, and 4. Transitioned into the rec league, which was great. And then my son, right behind her, he started at 2 and did 3 years of Tots, Dylan, and he had a great time. He enjoyed more of the soccer side of things, while my daughter was there to climb, run, jump, socialize, and it was great for both of them. It truly was. So it was a unique experience.
Introductory program for whatever. No 2 to 3-year-old comes in with any soccer skills, but for whatever experience your child might be looking for, sports or activity wise, it's a great starting point.
Whether you're their first teacher, their first someone to listen to besides mom and dad, someone to, outside of school even too, or daycare, or grandparents. It's like someone that's like teaching you something and learning. And
a testament to that is how many small children around Alexandria know you as Coach Liz, my soccer coach, even if they don't play, all they do is Tots and then they become basketball or dancers or whatever, like you're Coach Liz and they know you.
Recently, I actually saw a Tot at a Christmas party and he is now 7 or 9, 7, I think. And I said, do you remember me, bud? I coached you when you were 2, 3, and 4. And he goes, I have no idea who you are. But his parents did.
Lies.
And they chatted and, But it was a good experience for him, even if he didn't remember.
Something I want to ask if and how, we spoke about the curriculum so well, and just like I love the strategy and thought behind that, and I want to know if it's changed over the years. But one thing I want to just point out or talk about anecdotally is that it's so cool to see, like, at the 2-year-old class, the parents are very involved. They're standing right next to their 2-year-old. They're maybe helping them sit on their dot. There may be, the coach says to run like a cheetah, and they're right there, maybe holding hands or encouraging them. And then those kids, like you said, that maybe do it at 2, 3, and 4, by the end of the 4-year-old class, the parents are 20 yards away with their coffee on the sideline. Like, it's so cool to see that development in that short period of time, just in their ability to do more, listen, dribble the ball at like a very young age. Just that. I think the cognitive and like confidence part of this is a really big aspect of like, oh yeah, I can do this. I'm 4 and like I'm fine by myself. So I think that's a very cool thing you can see visually. But back to the curriculum. And I guess, I don't know what Chris was doing in the early days. What kind of Tots activities was he doing? Do we know?
Yeah, well, I definitely learned everything I know about Tots coaching from him. Yeah, there are definitely a lot of, similar activities that we were doing from them, but we also have added like, a series. So like first class, they're, learning very basic activities, and by the 4th class, they're doing like 2-step directions or 3-step directions. And then, they're able to know what's coming and to put their ball on the blue line after they score a goal, or to put their ball, or put their toes on the yellow behind the goal, or to make a cone head, like this.
Yes.
when they don't have something else to do. No, or shirt. But yeah, we've kind of streamlined it a little bit, so it's more fluid. I should say. It's not just we go out there, play some games, and head on home. But we have a purpose to it.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of imagination built into it too, and building off of that creativity. Even the team names, there are the Wildcats. That was Dylan's last group, but the imagination of kick like an elephant or run like a zebra, right? Those kids seem to feed off of that and get energized by it, and that's the story they like to tell.
Yeah.
The parents afterwards, it's run like a cheetah today. What does that mean? Fast or slow? Are you paying attention? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, going back to the sort of growth and development between 2 to 4 years old. So, right, this is an introductory program. And from this, kids can do a variety of things, whether that's go play a different sport entirely, or transition to something else at ASA. And so kind of the next opportunity for them is the rec league in the pre-K division, which is a step up from the Tots experience in that there's a practice per week and then a somewhat unstructured, but there is a structured game on the weekend. They play 3v3 at pre-K?
4v4 now.
4v4. Yep. So now, instead of, more of the practice training, you have directional, you're team-based, whatnot. I know you all have done some things kind of to help facilitate that transition and prepare both kids and parents for jumping from Tots to rec soccer if they want to. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I can jump on that one. The great part of the Tots is that the parents' involvement, as you kind of mentioned, at 2 years old, is alongside the kid. But by the time they're 4 years old, they're watching their kid participate with a coach, with a staff coach within the program. And the transition in from 4-year-old Tots to pre-K rec, now you look at a team, you look at a practice, you look at a coach that's a volunteer. So making sure that message is clear to the parents to say there's the difference between the two programs, where we actually do rely on the volunteer coaches. We've been working on how that messaging is relayed to the 4-year-old group, and one of the things that we've tried to do is implement in the spring season. One of the new initiatives at Soccer Fest is to have the 4-year-old Tot session right alongside it, so that we can say, look, this was this experience, continue playing soccer. It looks and feels a little bit different, and this is what we're going to be asking of you. But here's why it's great, too.
Yeah. We definitely, it's something we started last year at Soccer Fest, and this year will grow even more for all the 4-year-olds to have a chance to participate in it. It's just kind of like a what's next with ASA. So you don't just have to, get on the website and scroll and try to figure out what to do after the Tots program, but like it is a definitive step in the next direction.
Yeah. And for listeners who might not be familiar, Soccer Fest is our end of season rec festival in the spring, where we bring all of the rec teams up through like 6th grade to GW Middle School for a really fun day. There's bounce houses and soccer and food and music. And so this integration of then the Tots classes taking place in this really fun environment, one, so parents can see it and start to understand, and two, like, how fun.
Yeah, right.
Like you can go jump in the bounce castle after your last Tots class.
Yeah.
After you graduate.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned earlier on like the spectrum of ages that we offer programming for, and then within that there's all these transition moments, and 4-year-olds to 5-year-olds or 4-year-olds to pre-K is one of those first, if not the first transition moment. And how do we communicate to the parents, even the kids to some extent, what's next? And this is one of the ideas that we came up with so that they can see a path to continue playing sports, or in a pre-K, kindergarten, they get into the school system and they want to play with their classmates. So you share that story of, hey, recruit the kids in your class or your neighborhood so you can all play together. And this is that first moment where we've got to try and say, look, you can play through your adulthood with us.
Yes. Stay here.
Stay here.
We got
please.
programs for you.
Yep.
Soccer can be a lifelong sport.
Yes, it can be. Actually, I want to talk about indoor classes, and I also just want to talk about, sort of zoom out for a second and talk about this from a parent perspective. But you said that, so I want to transition. Soccer can be a lifelong sport. I think something that's a theme across a lot of these episodes and what we do at ASA is that we love to see kids stay involved into adulthood in any way possible, whether that's refereeing, whether that is playing either, on one of our semi-pro amateur teams or even in our adult league. And maybe one of our favorite things is coaching. And so Tots is a really great opportunity for some of our high school assistant coaches and even our recent grad college students who maybe don't play for us anymore to come back and coach in the Tots program, which is entry level for kids, entry level for coaches. Can you talk a little bit about some of the young adults you've had to help out and participate?
Yeah, so it's actually pretty funny. So when I started coaching Tots in 2013, I had a high school helper with me for my first class. Joey Peterson.
For your first class?
He taught me how a class was supposed to run. Just like, stretching, warming up, dribbling.
Oh my gosh.
And he taught me duck, duck, shoot. Him and Nick Capoose. But Joey Peterson, fast forward 13 years, 12 years. He is now out of college a couple years, moved back from the West Coast, and he came back and he said, hey, I need a job. I said, here you go. You can coach Tots.
Are you familiar?
And he jumped right in, and the kids absolutely loved Coach Joey this fall.
Oh my gosh. I didn't realize. I know he's an academy coach too. Kicked off with his first U9, I think, academy team. I didn't realize he was coaching Tots.
He also coached camps back then too when he was still in high school.
Yeah.
He's one that has been involved
That's
forever.
amazing.
We've had a lot of kids who've graduated. Jo Shee, she was a former soccer player for my high school team, and also she played at ASA, and she coaches Tots. Joseph Schweinfest, calling out all these high school college kids. He played ASA. He's in college locally, and he's coaching Tots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I was just going to say, I'm starting to recognize that we've talked in some of these other podcasts about the coaches and the pool of people that support our program, and camps and the high school program that's being built around the academy side of things, and futsal and Tots, and the number of job opportunities and ways that our older players can engage with ASA, engage with the support within our programming. Tots is just another one of those, right? Where personality matters, engagement matters, right? Can you get down on the kids' level and understand where they're coming from, be able to pivot at those, all these different skills that they're going to be able to get by stepping up and coaching one of our programs, and Tots is a great one.
Yeah. That actually reminded me, something else that you launched for the first time this past fall was culminating the Tots season with Tots Fest at the end of the fall season, which was a ton of fun. There were stations, some of our sponsors were out. I know I've thought of this because of other job opportunities or volunteer opportunities. There was a high school student running a coloring table, I think. I saw pictures of the coloring poster. Tell me a little bit about the inaugural Tots Fest, and is it coming back?
Yeah, so Tots Fest is kind of just a way to say thank you to all of our participants, for joining in the soccer community. And, it was after their last class, and the other locations were invited too, so they got to come, and it was like 3 hours on a Saturday morning. You did a class, and then you came and you had fun. A lot of sponsors were there, which was awesome. We had some sweet swag, and the kids got to play beanbag toss, coloring, tattoos, bubbles, music. It was just a good, fun time to kind of wrap up the Tots fall season. It'll definitely be coming back.
I think for perspective too, I think you have to understand the size and how many kids are participating.
Yeah, we haven't talked about how many Tots do we have?
Yeah, we are regularly 2,000 plus in a year, and the fall season is a little bit less than the spring,
just because of weather and how much programming we can have.
But in the fall we had let's just say 900 kids. I think we were just looking at the numbers the other day. And then over the winter time we'll have about 100, and then in the spring we'll have 11, 12, 1,300 right kids. So in a year we have 2,000 kids. So sponsors, they love those numbers, and for us to be able to put on these events and invite everybody out, these young families. It's been great. A great experience for them.
Well, let's go back to the question I was going to ask you then. That's a nice segue. Tots is a big program. There are, after, Chris's initial grassroots papering the town in the early days, it definitely, I think families talk about it to each other, right? We have a lot of participants who do play at age 2, 3, and 4, or a lot of kids. So the way this is structured, we often offer 2 or 3 sessions in both the fall and spring. So there's 4 weeks, and then another 4 weeks, and then potentially another. So sometimes kids even do multiple sessions. Having had a toddler, about to have a toddler, is 1-year-old a toddler, what, is specific about that age group that makes something like this great for kids that age? Is it something parents are looking for? Is it the outdoors aspect of it? What makes it so popular?
From my experience, you're at that age, you're trying to find things throughout the day to kill some time, from being honest with you. And a 30-minute, 45-minute, hour-long activity is something you're constantly searching for. And then within your parental network, you're constantly sharing, what you just did, what you're planning on doing. This was good, this was bad. And, that's where obviously working for ASA, my kids really didn't have a choice. They were going to experience it at some point. But that's just it, right? That's a lot of the conversation, and how the word of mouth really does impact registrations and interest and excitement around the program, because those days are long when you've got little kids, and when you've got
kids that don't nap.
Right? They drop that nap, and you're exhausted as a parent, and you're excited that someone else is going to be working with your kid, and you're outside. Right, you're outside, it's a whole experience trying to get a kid in the car seat and dressed appropriately and snacked up in the bathroom and all those things. And you think it's 30-minute session, but for that family, that's like a 2-hour experience. You
can go to the park afterwards.
Right.
And a lot of people do, and they make friends, right? They make mom friends or dad friends, and, or grandparents bring them, and it's a time for the parents to have a second, and people are just chatting, and there's coffee shops all over near our facilities, parks, playgrounds, and so it's an event. It's not just a 30-minute class like Jim said. It's like we're gonna go get breakfast after, or we're gonna go meet up with friends, or we're gonna have a Tots birthday party, which that's something that we do. We can get a Tots coach to a field in Alexandria, and you can have a Tots birthday party.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an event.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Speaking of birthday parties, tell me a little bit about, I know you just mentioned it, there's the opportunity to create a class. You've done that in the past. If
6+ Tots, you can have your own class.
We'll come to you.
Yeah, find a space, and we'll have a coach, and you can make your own class.
Similar to maybe can you talk about what we've done if we have with preschools or daycares with offering soccer classes to them?
Yeah, I think we try and find relationships within the city where there's organizations or businesses that are also working with similar age groups. Daycares being an obvious one, and saying, hey, we can come out to your location if you have the space. I think that's some of the challenges that we've run up against. Some of these places are excited to work with us, and it might even be inside in a cafeteria or a hall. But our ability to go out in the community is something that we're excited to do more of. If there's a partner out there that is listening that would want us to be in your space, please reach out.
Yeah.
But that dates back to some of the early efforts that were going on throughout Alexandria City. And, we were able to do here and there. You'd probably be able to expand on that a little bit more. But, that's something that is important to us.
Yeah. Now that you mentioned it's great to be outside, and that is the basis of Tots, but can we talk for one quick minute about our winter Tots? Because we have small sessions that kicked off this past weekend. Kicking off this coming weekend. There might be a couple spots left.
Yeah, there are.
Sorry, by the time you listen to this, it'll be underway, I'm realizing. But we do have winter Tots classes, indoors and gyms. What is the indoor experience like?
Indoors a bit of a different beast with 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds. It's just more of an organic feel, right? We're not necessarily using our lines because the ball moves so much faster inside than on like the grass or turf.
Yeah.
2-year-old with a ball inside, it's all the way across the gym. So instead of playing, red light, green light just across the gym, we're playing red light, green light all over the gym, so we're never really going in any sort of direction. It's pretty much just, wind sprints for 30 minutes. And, the parents love that.
Love it. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Is Tots in the summer similar? Do we use the outdoor grass space? Do we use courts? What is summer Tots?
Summer, we usually take a break just because of the weather.
Yeah.
It's a little bit too hot for them in July and August, so we usually take a break. Kind of follow the school schedule with Tots, so September to June.
We did have one session.
We did one off, kind of like a creative class that we opened up to other people. We did that at the Lee Center, but we were supposed to do it on the Miracle Field, but that is that rubber kind of playground, and it was super hot, so they kind of moved it to the grass under the trees. But
it's not to say we won't do it. It's just that programming on a larger level we reserve for the fall and the spring.
Yeah.
And if there's a motivated group, then hey, we'll work with you.
Group, they wanted the summer Tots.
Yep.
Maybe we do the soccer camp starts at 9, a pre-soccer camp, 8 a.m.
Oh, yeah. We could start at 6 if we had to.
That's true. Create a class.
Yep.
What do you want?
6 a.m. July.
Oh, my gosh. I should have mentioned this earlier, but something I wanted to talk about when we're thinking about the transition and kind of like what you can do at ASA as you graduate from Tots is play rec or futsal. And so a couple years ago, in the early days, we had lots of fun, different colored Tots t-shirts. I think I have a pink one, vintage
cotton
t-shirts.
Really go wild.
now we've transitioned to the jersey, which matches our rec jerseys. And we did that so that if a kid plays Tots, in theory, if they play a couple seasons of Tots, by the time they're transitioning to rec, they might have a red jersey, they might have a blue jersey, they might even have a black and neon, because we've kind of rotated that through. I guess that, I don't know that there's a question there, but that's another way that I think you all have strategically thought about setting families up to continue the experience.
Yeah. We've had this conversation, I think, in our mid-year catch-up and end-of-year catch-up, but the jerseys are something that we can play with, right? The colors of them. There's not a requirement that Tots has to be one thing or the other. So we've had a couple of different thought processes along the way. Like you said, a red and a blue one. So maybe those 4-year-olds who are transitioning into pre-K, maybe they didn't hit a growth spurt. Maybe that shirt still fits. Maybe they bought an extra large one or for them. One that is too large, I should say. And that they can wear it for another season or two. So, lowering the barrier to entry in terms of you've already got your gear, just sign up. And then allow for a little bit of creativeness in a spring or fall season. And I think we have a creative one, a new color coming up we agreed to?
Sky blue.
Oh, very exciting.
Yeah, so that'll be a third kit for the littles. They'll be able to, sport that around the city, which I do want to say, I do see,
everywhere.
Jerseys, Tots jerseys, kids at playgrounds, driving by at the grocery store. I might not know their name, but they're like, oh, Coach Liz.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, you're one of my Tots.
Well, with our Tots t-shirts, if you turn it around, you see the big sponsor on there. So when you are at the playground in Alexandria or its surrounding communities and you see Alexandria Children's Dentistry logo on the back, that's been a Tot.
Yep. It also feels the jersey, like even as a little kid, you're like proud of your soccer jersey. You go to soccer on the weekends and you don't know what soccer means anything different than like your Tots class, which I think is kind of fun. One thing I want to talk about is the Tots coaches. We touched a little bit on some of our full circle coaches and kids who had participated in ASA and how have been back. But tell me a little bit about some of your Tots coaches. I know there's a lot of them that are in youth development in other ways in their full-time lives.
So coaching Tots obviously isn't a full-time job. It's definitely a supplemental income. So I do, being a former teacher, I recruited a lot of teachers, to supplement their teaching salaries. But it's like their bread and butter. And like as a teacher, you could run a Tots class, backwards, sleeping with no sleep. So it's something really fun, especially, I was a middle school teacher, so middle school is a tough age. I don't get many hugs at middle school. So coming to Tots on Saturday morning when everyone says, Coach Liz, I love you, and gives you a big hug is really something that means a lot. So we have a bunch of teachers. We have high school teachers, elementary teachers, special ed teachers. We have, a couple years ago, we had scientists who worked at NIH, and just wanted a little reprieve from their day job. And we have people who are at law school who are Tots coaches. We have, kind of anyone who wants to get involved. You can get involved and be a Tots
If you're listening and want to coach Tots,
we always need coaches.
Reach out.
It's not, you don't have to know soccer knowledge, really. It's just being, able to get into the mindset of coaching littles.
Yeah, which is probably like why some of the students who get involved are so good at it. Like right on that level, ready to mix it up with 4-year-olds. Okay, maybe the last question before we get to the end and we wrap up. Tell me about the stickers at the end of Tots or the stamps. Is it just stickers now?
Sometimes I switch it up, and do stamps. But everyone always gets a sticker, right? We do our 1, 2, 3, we love soccer! And you get a sticker. It's basically the biggest part of our budget. Our sticker budget, you know. We spend a lot of money on stickers, so if anybody's out there in the sticker business.
It's amazing.
But yeah, stamps sometimes as well. We made ASA Tots stamps one time, and then we have a soccer ball stamp. But yeah, it's what kids love. They want the sticker. They will sometimes go to their parents and be like, I want my sticker, you know, right after we start warm up. They're like, you gotta get to duck, duck, shoot before the sticker.
Gotta earn that sticker.
Exactly.
Oh, that is funny. That's a memory for me too. Like thinking of duck, duck, shoot, and then the We Love Soccer of when my kids were doing it too. Like and all the parents and grandparents come a little closer to the goal, and then they start clapping too, and everyone's chanting duck, duck, shoot.
Okay, we need to describe duck, duck, shoot for the people. If you are unfamiliar, what is duck, duck, shoot?
Basically, if you're familiar with duck, duck, goose, right? So all the kids sit on their soccer balls spread out, not in a circle, in front of the goal, and the coach goes around and says, duck, duck, and taps their little heads, and then the third person gets a shoot, and so they get up, dribble, and score a goal while everybody's clapping. Duck, duck, shoot. Duck, duck, shoot.
Amazing.
Yeah. So it's the kind of culmination game. Like, you know, if you were to play 4v4 at the end of a rec soccer practice, like it's the...
Yeah, this is what you're building to.
Exactly. And we always end with duck, duck, shoot.
What a hype. You get full hype squad
Oh, it
for
is.
your scoring your final goal.
Yep.
Everybody's
And the
watching.
kids kind of know that's like the end, right? So
Yeah.
for those kiddos that are very need a routine and they like that, they know what's coming.
Yeah.
And then they will hang around as long as they need to get that sticker or get that stamp. You get crowded and
Yeah. Give
all
them
these little
some
hands coming in towards you.
And they're like, can my sister have one?
Right.
Can my uncle have one? I'm like, not yet.
Okay, before we wrap up, I want to shout out two of our great sponsors, one of who we just mentioned, Alexandria Children's Dentistry, our Jersey sponsor, has been a longtime supporter of Tots and believe in keeping kids healthy and active. In addition, Postpartum Wellness is a wonderful supporter and leader in maternal health, and we want to thank them and ACD for helping make our programming possible. As we kind of wrap up here, I'll give you a second to think about it. I just wonder where you see Tots going, if, you know, Tots is Tots. It's been here for a decade. Maybe it doesn't need to go anywhere, but what are your hopes and dreams? Or you can even mention your favorite part about being involved with Tots Soccer. But I want to say, while you think about that, I think one of the maybe coolest things as in this introductory program for our youngest kids is that, like, there's no way to do Tots wrong. Kids of that age have all kinds of different experiences. Like Jim mentioned, you know, kids liking it for different reasons or taking different things out of it or becoming soccer pros or never playing soccer again. But it's this kind of perfect snapshot of a program for this age where they can develop a lot of things outside of dribbling a soccer ball that can lead to anything else. And so I think we see for kids of different ages, and maybe as you get a little bit older, there's sometimes stress around, you know, is my kid developing? Do they have the right skills to play soccer? Do they, you know, are they on the right team? And really, there's none of that here. It's just Tots Soccer, and you can't.
Fun.
Yeah, it's for fun, and there's no wrong way to show up and be a top participant on the weekend, which is cool. Okay, who wants to start with your closing statement?
I'll give a perspective.
Okay.
I think what we've tried to do today is to share just kind of what you did, that Tots is for every 2, 3, and 4-year-old there is.
Yeah.
And we want to continue to spread that message. There's a whole new crop of 2s, you know, in the city every single year. Alexandria City is a younger city. Neighboring communities are young, so a lot of young families are continuing to come up and through. We want to continue to provide a really fun experience so that those parents do share positive experiences with us, and it's very organic in terms of, hey, you got to check out ASA. You got to check out the Tots program. It's a lot of fun. My kid loved it for XY reason. You should try it out too. So want to continue to share that message, continue to find ways to make it fun and energizing, continue to build a coaching pool. I think Liz and I talk a lot about, we did share all the qualities of a coach and how Liz is continuing to add to the pool, share that message loud and clear that come join us, come join us in the coaching ranks, and so that we can spread this joy to more parts of the city.
Yeah.
So that would be my challenge and my hopes.
I love it.
Yeah. Jim pretty much said it all, but yeah, I mean, Tots is the beginning, right? The beginning of your journey with ASA, or it can be the only thing you do with ASA, but what we want is to make sure that we are reaching every 2, 3, 4-year-old in Alexandria. I do want to get more classes on the west side of Alexandria. Our Somerville Brenman class is always full. So I want to add another class there. So maybe 2 classes and get more kiddos from the west side, because Simpson has six classes going on at one time in Del Rey. And it's a lot of kids at one time. But yeah, we want to make sure we're definitely reaching the other part of Alexandria as well.
I think if we had a facility too, that maybe we could just operate throughout the day. I don't know. We keep it busy. We keep it full.
Yeah.
That's what I think we got the ability to do that.
Lunchtime tots, pre-nap, tots.
Just throwing that out there.
Okay.
Think about it.
10 a.m. Tots class.
Oh my God. Go straight from the library to tots. Speaking of which, my, it's not really a hope or dream, but excitement is to watch your tot become a soccer tot.
She just turned 1, so we have one more year.
Okay.
Spring 2026, right?
Yes.
So
All right.
she'll be out there.
She will be, whether she likes it or not.
She's out there now.
She'll be running the class by the time she's 6 or 7.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you, friends. Oh my God, I had to throw that in for tots because you always call your tots friends, which is so cute.
Yeah.
It's a great way to.
At least you can call us littles.
Littles. Yeah. Thank you for coming and chatting about tots.
That's fun.
I appreciate it.
Listening,
Thanks.
friend.